behalf of the Christopher staff and the board of directors, several of whom are here with us tonight, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the 68th Annual Christopher Awards, which are being broadcast on SiriusXM's The Catholic Channel, Channel 129. You know why we're here, right? We're celebrating artists, but not only artists who are great at what they're doing from a technical level, but above all, artists who have tapped into beauty, artists who have tapped into goodness, artists who have tapped into truth in a way that is not easy in a crazy world that we're living in. You know, I think last year we were in the middle of an election season, and everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." I think we can say now, no, that wasn't crazy. No, this is crazy. This is wild. You know? And no matter if you're happy about it or not, I think we all admit that we would never have imagined. And that disruption in the ordinary, I think, leaves a space, perhaps, which is new, for goodness, beauty, and truth. Somebody mentioned to me before, earlier this evening, that they were at an event that I was doing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I believe I told a story there, this is just a couple of months ago, in which I was representing the Christophers, and about somebody in Penn Station who recognized truth in a way that will always leave an impression on me. I don't know if I can get away from this podium for a second, but you know Penn Station. It's, how many of you, has anybody never been to Penn Station, New York City? Okay. I was hoping there would be somebody who didn't have to experience that, right? Penn Station is a wild place, and I'm from the Midwest, and people who ask for money in the Midwest generally ask for money for the next meal. In Penn Station, people ask for money very obviously, openly, honestly, for beer and weed. Have you seen that? Right? They actually have signs that say, you know, I need money for beer, and people give it to them. One day I was there, and it was my day off. I was in a sweatshirt and jeans, and I was waiting for a priest friend of mine. We were going out to Long Beach, and we were going to go out to the beach, and a gentleman comes up to me and says, "Sir, could I have some money for breakfast?" And I said, "Well, it's better than the guy who was asking for beer at 7 in the morning." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to give you money, but I'm going to give you some, I will happily buy you breakfast." And he goes, "Oh, no, I don't buy breakfast here." I said, "Okay." And there was a gentleman to the right of me who was watching this going, "Oh my gosh, this guy's actually contemplating this conversation and with this gentleman." And I said, "Well, why don't you have breakfast here?" And he said, "Well, because I get a low-fat bran muffin with whipped cream on top, and they don't have it here." I said, "Okay." So I reached in my pocket, and I thought I had a $5 bill, and the only thing I had was a $20 bill. I pulled it out, and this guy at the other table was going, "Oh my gosh, what an absolute idiot. You know, he must be from the Midwest." And at least that's what I was thinking in my mind. And I look at him, and I'm probably doing this out of spite to this other guy who was looking at me like that. And I give it to this gentleman, and I said, "Please, go get your low-fat bran muffin with whipped cream on top and bring me back the change." So he goes, about 7 minutes go by, he finally brings back that low-fat bran muffin with whipped cream. I suppose it was low-fat. I suppose it was, and he brought back a receipt as well. And he said to me, "Well, here it is." You're almost disappointed that he actually did what he did. And I said, "Sir, you don't know how much you inspire me." And he said, "What?" And I said, I'm a Roman Catholic priest." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, it's like a minister. It's like a pastor." And then he looked at me again and he goes, "Are you a preacher man?" I said, "Yeah, I guess I'm a preacher man." He got down on his knees in Penn Station like this. And he lifted up his arms like this, and he said, "I have won the Jesus lottery." And I think what he meant was that he probably has messed up in the past, but somehow he followed his conscience and he sought truth. That blew me away. You know, there are so many artists in this room, and we are honoring you because you have sought truth. You have sought beauty. You have sought goodness in your own way, but you've done it. And that's what we're honoring in the Christophers. The Christophers, we're not looking that everybody looks alike, that everybody acts alike, that everybody is part of the same political party. We're saying, if you have been given the gift of artistry, you can do wonderful things. We're going to begin with a prayer tonight, as we do each year. Regardless of your faith tradition, I think these words will ring true. If you'd like to bow your head, you can, or whatever helps you to connect with God. Lord, you call all of us to reflect your goodness and light to the people we encounter every day. Family, friends, co-workers, and strangers. The creative artists we honor tonight live that mission in a special way because their work reaches a wider number of people with messages of service, sacrifice, healing, and humor. Bless these artists with continued wisdom and understanding, and encourage them always to keep sharing their gifts with the world. We ask this in your loving name. Amen. I have the honor now to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, a true New York television legend who won our Christopher Life Achievement Award last year. Ernie Anastas celebrates 3 decades as a top news anchor at ABC7 and CBS 2, and now he is watched by millions of New Yorkers every night at 6 o'clock on Fox 5. You finally made it to Fox. Ernie is a Hall of Fame broadcaster who has won more than 30 Emmy Awards for his outstanding contributions to television journalism, including the prestigious Lifetime Emmy Award. He is author of the series of children's books and the publisher of New York Lifestyles magazine. Most notably, he has been honored by the City of New York with an official mayoral proclamation marking March 21st as Ernie Anastas Day for his distinguished media career spanning 3 decades. We know that Ernie cares deeply about our city and is recognized as an ambassador of goodwill, serving as a champion for promoting more positive news. So now, please welcome Ernie Anastas.
So nice to see live people, isn't it great, Tony? Look out the studio, we have those robotic cameras now. It's unbelievable how things have changed, but it's always good to see people in the flesh. And I love this particular event every year. And I've been doing it several years, and you all remember Father John Couture, who is now in the Carolinas. Father John, I call him Jack. We have a nice friendly relationship, and he brought me into the organization when he was here, and he sends his very best. He sent me a note today, and he said, "Make sure you say hi from me." I said, "I sure will." And we've had so many good times together. And you know, you're right, Father Jonathan, about positive. We need this. We all need this. I'm in the news business, as you well know, and every day, and you know this, Tony, we go on the air, and sometimes we look at each other and we use that line, "Are we making this up?" It's hard to believe, you know, so much is going on in our world, and unfortunately, so much of it is negative, but we can find the positive. We can look for it. We can take a problem and look for solutions. I spent a lot of time going out to the schools in the New York City area, speaking to 400 or 500 young people at the time that they need to hear something good. And they're smart. These young kids who are, you know, middle school kids, they're very much aware of what's happening in our world. They follow the news. They ask me pointed questions about what's going on. And I'm amazed to hear that. But they need positive answers like we do about life. And recently, I had a nice interview with Placido Domingo. And he was on my air. We were talking about some of the programs he's involved in. He's about 76 years old right now, and I asked him a lot of different questions with all of his accomplishments in his career. And I said, Placido, what's left? What do you want to do? What's the next best thing? And he looked at me and I wrote it down. He said, Ernie, he said, I just want to keep going. I want to live my life with passion for the years that God has granted me. He said, this is all I know. This is what I believe. And I remember that, and I think we will agree at any age, the important thing for us to remember is you never give up on anything, and you never give up on anybody. And miracles happen all the time. And tonight, we're here to celebrate miracles and positive spirit. And I congratulate all of you who are here tonight. A round of applause for all the good work you've done. Pat yourself on the back. In a few minutes, this year's winning authors and illustrators, writers and directors and producers will be called up to receive their awards tonight. And in keeping with a long-standing tradition, only the winners of the James Keller Award and Christopher Leadership Award will give acceptance speeches. So relax, enjoy yourself, take it easy. We're going to be on the air in a short time here, live and in color, right? Tony's going to be joining us. We begin by presenting the winners for our Books for Adults category in the talented and award-winning reporter who was kind enough to introduce me for my award last year. Tony, I appreciate you doing that for me. It was very well done. Sat there and I was listening to you and I'm saying, is this a eulogy? What am I listening to? But it was very kind of you. And Tony Aiello, by the way, has spent 5 years at WNBC TV here in New York before moving on to his current position at WCBS TV in 2002. And we spent many good years together at Channel 2. When he's not working, Tony can be found spending time with his wife Liz and also their 2 sons, devoting his time to charitable causes like the Food Bank for Westchester and serving as board secretary for the Westchester Philharmonic. He also experienced one of the happiest moments of his life. Maybe you don't know this, but it was a real joy last year when his beloved Cubs won the World Series. Go Cubbies! I happen to like the Red Sox, but don't tell anybody that, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a distinguished broadcaster, a good friend, a terrific guy with a good heart, Tony Aiello.
Thank you, Ernie. It is such an honor to be here with someone that I really admire, that I really look up to. I speak, of course, of Father Jonathan Morris. We are competitors now, Ernie, don't forget. Father Jonathan is such a wonderful guy. My wife Liz and I are privileged to count him as a friend. And he's a superstar in the Catholic Church in New York. He could serve anywhere, but he asked for a certain kind of assignment. He's at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Little Italy in the Bronx. Don't bother him on Sundays because he's doing Mass in English, Italian, and Spanish on Sundays. Busy man. Jonathan, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you. It's a pleasure and privilege to be with all of you and to bring you best wishes from CBS 2's President and General Manager Peter Dunn and all of my CBS 2 News colleagues. It's such a distinguished group of winners, and it strikes me, reading through the list of winners, that the subject material that you cover in your works is so wide-ranging, but it strikes me that all of you, all of our awardees tonight have something in common. In a culture that encourages us to nurse our grievances, your work reminds us to count our blessings. So thank you to all the award winners for shining so many points of light that help guide us through some dark times. And being here with you tonight gets me out of helping my wife Liz pack the boys for their 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. Our 14-year-old twins, Robert and Anthony, also known as Master and Commander, they are joining students from their middle school in New Rochelle, New York for 3 days in Washington, D.C. So, Father, everyone, tonight I invite you to pray for the good people of Washington, D.C. They don't know what is coming their way tomorrow morning. Books for Adults. Our first winner is Carry On by Lisa Fenn, published by Harper Wave, HarperCollins. When ESPN producer Lisa Fenn heard about the friendship between a blind high school wrestler and his teammate who had lost his legs in a train accident, she knew it would make a good story. But as she learned about the poverty and need in the lives of D'Artagnan, Crockett, and Leroy Sutton, she grew to admire their tenacity, and she came to love them like a mother. Carry On celebrates the coming together of this unlikely family and the challenges they faced along the way. This book reminds us that feeling valued and loved can make a tremendous difference in a young person's life. Accepting for author Lisa Fenn is her editor at Harper Wave, Sarah Murphy. Tonight to The 100-Story Home by Kathy Izard, published by Grace Press. Do good, love well. Kathy Izard learned those ideals from her family growing up, and she was living out those ideals as a longtime volunteer at a Charlotte, North Carolina soup kitchen. Then a formerly homeless man asked her a question. Why do they do so much good during the day for the homeless, but then send the homeless back to the streets at night? This challenge gave Kathy a new sense of mission, which she documents in The 100-Story Home. Today, she's helped create a supportive housing facility for more than 120 homeless men and women, and she continues to work to build even more. Please welcome and honor, along with us, author Kathy Izard. Our next award is presented for Love That Boy by Ron Fournier, published by Harmony Books, Crown Publishing. Very well-known journalist Ron Fournier often cringed at his son Tyler's social awkwardness. But when Ron learned that Tyler had high-functioning autism, known as Asperger's syndrome, he cringed at his own harsh judgment. Love That Boy explores the father-son bond that was strengthened as they took 8 road trips together to indulge Tyler's love of history, including personal meetings with former Presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. The book also encourages parents to explore their own sometimes damaging expectations for their children. In the end, Ron comes to a new realization, saying, Tyler is not my idealized son, he is my ideal one. Accepting for author Ron Fournier is his editor at Harmony Books, Donna Lofredo. Tonight we honor Operating on Faith by Matt Weber, published by Loyola Press. Matt Weber had lived a trouble-free, leave-it-to-beaver life until the day his stomach burst open at the age of 30. Now, this wasn't like a scene in Alien, but it did require emergency surgery just a few months after he married his wife, Nell. In Operating on Faith, Matt channels his gift for integrating humor into everything, even his own pain, and reflects on the experiences that left him a changed man. Ultimately, he comes to see the way God works through other people, and he offers this book as a testimony of love to his wife. We're pleased to have with us here tonight, author Matt Weber. We're pleased to honor Spaceman by Mike Massimino, published by Crown Archetype Crown Publishing. The odds were stacked against Mike Massimino ever fulfilling his childhood dream of becoming an astronaut. Mike struggled with self-doubt, a fear of heights, and even poor eyesight. But seeing the movie The Right Stuff in 1983 reawakened his desire to enter the space program and become part of a team that would make the world a better place. In Spaceman, he tells us how he accomplished it all and why it left him with a new appreciation of the divine beauty that surrounds us. We're pleased to have with us author and retired astronaut, Mike Massimino. Our final winner in the Books for Adults category is also the winner of our James Keller Award, which is named for the Christopher's founder. This award is presented to individuals who are shaping the lives of young people in a positive way. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Chuck Dietzen. Ordinarily, if a doctor walked into your hospital room and pulled a whoopee cushion out of his bag, you might think twice before letting him treat you. But Dr. Chuck's patients love it because he's in charge of the pediatric rehab at Riley Hospital for Children at Indiana University Health. Dr. Chuck's concern for children was instilled in him at a young age because his parents took in 150 foster kids while he was growing up and even adopted 2 of them despite the financial hardship that this caused their family. As he got older, Dr. Chuck pursued a career in pediatrics. And because of his background in sports, he specialized in physical rehabilitation for disabled children. His mission expanded even more in 1997 after meeting Mother Teresa during a trip to India. And she taught him that it's okay to be ordinary, but we should all have an extraordinary mission. She also advised him to offer hope to all his patients, even the ones he couldn't cure. That experience led Dr. Chuck to see that he had a God-given mission to be a healer. So he founded Timmy Global Health. Named after his brother who died a few days after birth, the organization enlists students and medical volunteers in its mission to bring health care to those in need around the world. Meanwhile, Dr. Chuck managed to integrate his other career into his medical work here in the US. You see, he's also a wrestler known as Dr. Doom. And every year, his patients take him on in the ring as part of a fundraiser for Timmy Global Health and Riley Hospital. Dr. Doom has yet to win a match, even though he competes against 7-year-olds. And that brings us to Dr. Chuck's Christopher Award-winning book, Pint-Sized Prophets. That's how he sees the young people he treats as prophets. They're incredible souls, he says, who were sent here to make us better, make us more compassionate, more kind, and more human. The other thing they've taught him is that we are all born to be healers. Each of us, not just doctors and nurses, can provide some kind of healing to the people around us who are in pain physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And so tonight, the Christophers are happy to recognize Dr. Chuck Dietzen with 2 awards, one for his book and the other for his life's work. It's an honor he has truly earned. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chuck Dietzen to the podium to say a few words. And he just slipped a whoopee cushion on Jonathan's chair.
You know, I'm just excited to get to meet Father Morris. I watch him on Fox News all the time, and I was like, I get a photo with him even. This is, I'm so flattered and humbled to be here. The more I learned about the Christophers and about Father James Keller, I was just flabbergasted and just feel once again truly blessed that I get to be here and speak to you. As I was listening to the stories of the other books, and the emphasis I noticed, talk about the autism spectrum, someone having Asperger's syndrome, someone who's blind, someone who's an amputee. The thing that I have been saying for years is I've been very blessed. Thankfully, because my parents welcomed people into our home. We didn't have the means to go out into the world, but my parents welcomed the world into our home. And so I learned at a young age to count my blessings, and also that I had something to give, even though, I didn't think I was anything extraordinary. In fact, as you heard earlier, when I went to work with Mother Teresa, I thought, oh my gosh, those women are extraordinary. I can't possibly do what they do. And then what I learned in the time that I spent with the Missionaries of Charity was they're very ordinary, but they were committed to an extraordinary mission. And that's why we're here. That is the meaning of life. This is why God put us here, and why we, as Mother Teresa often said, we must choose our own Calcutta. For me, that has been multiple locations, including Calcutta. But I will say that it is the one-to-one. It is the love and acceptance of each individual that you encounter on this planet that makes you realize that is the beauty and the purity of the work and the mission and why we're here. Mother, years ago, was invited by someone to join an anti-war march, and she said, no, but if you have a peace march, I'll be there. And I think that's something very important to keep in mind in the world that we have today, that if we do love and accept each other as we are, when we encounter one another, and we realize that we are forever changed moving forward, then this planet is on a great path to healing. Thank you so much. This is the greatest thing that's happened to me in recent history, and it is because of the origin of the Christopher's Award, the founder. I didn't really, when I just heard it was nominated, I thought, wow, that's great. And then here I am getting to speak to you and just say, I am just absolutely so honored to be among all of you other authors, directors, writers. These movies, I was sitting there going, hey, those are two of the greatest movies ever made, and they're being honored tonight too. And as I said earlier, and I get my photo with Father Morris. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.